Hello, I'm Bob the Booker, and welcome to my channel. Today, you may notice slightly different kind of background choices. I am just staying at my friend's place at the moment, just house sitting. Long-term subscribers may recognise this from maybe half a year ago or so. But anyway, I am sat in a very, very cozy dressing gown, just which I don't think my friend knows that I'm wearing. But anyway, and given that we're just a few days away, I wanted to chip in with my predictions slash hopes for the Booker Prize this year. Now, I've already done solo reviews of all of the books from the long list and shortlist. And I've done a separate review talking about all of the shortlist together. So I'm not going to do that necessarily here, but by all means, please do go and check that out. But this is just me quickly popping in to talk about the books that I think will or should hopefully win the Booker Prize. And there is a very loud motorbike outside. One moment. Men. Anyway, so the shortlist itself, we've got 6 books on there that I think are a really great shortlist. I know that the shortlist for some people just hasn't worked as much as it's worked in previous years, and I think the fact that you've got a book like Oh William in there is probably part of that reason for some people. I think that's the book that many people, I guess, didn't really think would make the shortlist, myself included. And I think also then for many people, it's sort of, you can't help but kind of think what could have been, instead of this book, something else could have been in there. So I think it's really interesting to see what will come of this on Monday when it's all announced. But my personal hopes are as follows. At the risk of saying I love them all, I do have 3 books that I'm sort of personally rooting for and would really love to see take the prize. And this is again assuming that there won't be a double win or any of that, because in theory there really shouldn't have been in 2019 anyway. That was just sort of somehow a rule that was allowed to be bent. And the motorbike is back. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Anyway, so the 3 books that I'm really rooting for personally are Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, The Trees by Percival Everett, and The Seven Moons of Marley Almeida by Shehan Karunatalaka. And I have sort of different reasons for each one of these books, really. But I think it's interesting as well for me when I did the Booker B-list sort of reading project, where I went back and I read shortlisted books, other books by all of the shortlisted authors. Those 3 were also the 3 books that I enjoyed most as well, by these 3 authors, because I think there's something so interesting about the way each of them writes. So for Claire Keegan's book, I think it's really impressive to see a book that is so focused and so good at moving the set pieces around in the background, so that when the ending comes after only really just over 100 pages, there's something really staggering about it still. There's something so unsaid in its pages, and it's really masterful how that's done. I think Percival Everett's The Trees is fantastic for being incredibly funny, but incredibly biting. There's something really true going on at the heart of this book. There's something so clever, and it's an incredibly detailed and provocative book in a good way. I think it encourages some sort of difficult conversations about some of these parts. And finally, Seven Moons of Mali Almeida. This was just such a glorious book in so many ways. I got a little bit lost at parts of it because of its sort of density, but actually when you have a book being read 3 times, which all of the shortlist will have been, being read first in the initial selection, then the long list being reread, and then the shortlist being reread to choose the winner. I think it's a book that gets stronger each time. I think all 3 of these ones are, actually. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see this book also nudge its way kind of past the finishing line. I am almost always wrong about these things, though, as well. These are personal favourites and personal choices, but my predictions sort of overlap in quite a strong way. I think, for me personally, the win will be mostly between Alan Garner's Treacle Walker for its sort of inventiveness and its sort of uniqueness. I think Seven Moons has a really good shot of winning as well. And I think The Trees, I think between those three is where we'll find the winner. Claire Keegan's wouldn't be too out of the ordinary, I think, if it won. I think, you know, it's kind of one of those books that I think could kind of just nudge its way over the finish line. I mean, this is not to discount Glory as well. I realise I'm just saying all of the books now. And this motorbike, oh my god, get a new hobby. But yes, this is not to discount No Violet Bulawayo's Glory, because I think it's a really strong novel in many, many ways. I'm just not sure in some ways whether it will... I don't know if it will be seen as sort of fresh enough compared to some of these other books to really make it over the finish line. I think The Trees feel so fresh in some ways, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it always depends basically on where the judges fall on the day in terms of, well, just before the day they choose, on what they're looking for. If they're looking really for innovation, then some of these books do that far more than others. If they're just looking for high quality writing, that again is perhaps a different sort of ordering of the books. And if it's a combination of the two, who knows? So I think that's the thing that we never really know. Those three I've mentioned are my favourites. I think we are fairly likely, when this motorbike stops, I think we're fairly likely to see the winner being The Trees or Seven Moons. I'm going to put those two out there. I think Alan Garner has a chance, but I think it's between those two. I am almost definitely wrong, because I almost always am on these things. But we shall see. I'm really excited either way to see who wins, and I hope sort of you'll be joining if you can, if it's at the right time for you, you'll be able to join the winners announcement when it comes out on the 17th. I believe sort of 7 p.m. UK time and various other times. I'll put the information below. But I've been Bod the Booker, really looking forward to next year's, already in the future, already looking forward to next week's Booker Prize announcement for this year's winner. I've been Bod the Booker, take care and speak to you all soon. Bye bye.